Culver City. Well, good day, my friends. Trail Pal Jordan the Line, and we're coming to you from Hillside Memorial Cemetery. Today we are going to pay our respects and visit one of my favorite of the Three Stooges, and the only Stooge that I have not visited yet before, Moe Howard. I believe he's buried in the wall crypts over here. This is the grave of the great Al Jolson. Let's go find Moe. Lame brain. Charlie, let's see if we can't find Moe Howard, huh? Looks like this over here is what we're looking for. That says the Court of Love. And that is where the great Moe, well, when he was a kid he went by the name Harry, but his parents called him Moe when he was a little boy, and he became professionally known Moe Howard, Moe Horwitz. You know, as a kid, I loved the Three Stooges. I used to wake up waiting for the bus for elementary school for like first, second, third grade. I remember waiting for the bus, watching the Three Stooges before I would go out to catch the bus. And when I was a kid, Moe was always the one that I was like, he's not funny. He was just too serious. And then as I grew up, I saw the genius in what, like the catalyst that he had to be for that comedy group to be successful. He had to be somewhat the straight man in order for the funny guys to be even funnier. And so knowing that he was the leader of all that and everything now, I really appreciate him and everything he did for the Stooges after they retired. As I come around this corner, I see this tree. I actually see his name poking right through there on the second level. It is the great Moe Howard. Had that bowl haircut. That actually came about because he used to get beat up really bad going to and from school. He was born in Brooklyn and his parents were Jewish Lithuanian. His mom didn't believe, I've known someone else who was Lithuanian and they felt the same way. Mom didn't believe in cutting the hair. And so because when the hair gets long, it gets curls, and they love that. And once you cut the curls, they supposedly never come back. So his mom was that way, didn't want him to cut. So he was getting beat up. He said on Mike Douglas' show that he would get beat up on his way to and from school. So one day he went out to the shed behind where they lived and cut the curls off and had that bowl cut. That just became his look forever. He was so into movies and stuff, though, when he was a kid, he used to skip school and would stand outside the theater, and he would offer an adult he would try and pay them to get him in, because in those days a kid couldn't get in without an adult. So he would skip school and watch movies. He would go up to the balcony and watch movies. He loved it even then. And eventually his older brother, Samuel Horwitz, yep, Shemp, the great Shemp. I don't know why. I guess I've never understood why Shemp and Curly are buried somewhere else and why Moe decided to be buried here without them. But he was the last remaining Stooge. Shemp was his older brother, and Moe and Shemp used to go and sing in bars and stuff when he was underage till their parents found out, and then he ran away after he dropped out of high school, joining like riverboats and things like that and performing in those. And Ted Healy was the man who originally came up with Ted Healy and the Stooges, kind of the Stooge Act. And apparently the way that came about was that, you know, Moe and Shemp had joined Ted Healy's act and they were doing vaudeville and things like that. But the way it happened was that Moe and Ted Healy were performing, and Shemp was out in the crowd one night, and Moe saw him, didn't know he was there, and yelled for him to come up, and Shemp started heckling Moe, and they went bickering back and forth and arguing and everything, and Ted Healy thought that was really funny, and that basically became the act. So Shemp and Moe were the original Stooges with Ted Healy. Ted Healy was known for being a talented guy with a lot of charisma, but a really bad drunk, and he liked to play a lot of jokes on people. And so they performed together for a while, and they got a little bit of leeway. See, Moe had made money when he was a kid running errands for Vitagraph Pictures, and when that burned down, that's how he had originally came into contact with Ted Healy before they ever did anything else. And Ted just kind of took things too far, and so there were different times where Shemp would either quit or Moe would quit. And at one point, Moe quit to go into real estate with his mother, and Shemp continued to work with Ted Healy, and they were getting a lot of work. And so finally, Ted said, you know, we got to get Moe back in this, because they had been out touring, found Larry Fine, added him to the act, and they felt like they were just missing one more piece. So they asked Moe to come back, and that became the original Ted Healy and his Stooges. It was Shemp, Moe, Larry, and Ted. Now, Moe had really good business sense, and Ted, since he was the name on the act, he got paid, and then he would pay the Stooges, and he would always keep the bigger part of the money for himself. In fact, when they finally got into motion pictures, Ted was getting $1,000 a week, where each Stooge was only getting 100, and so they didn't like that. Plus, they found out, you know, that they had talent on their own without Ted. Ted was hard to deal with, and at one point, Shemp would quit the act because his wife was tired of Ted's bad behavior and everything. And so that's when Moe went out and recruited Curly, Jerome, their younger brother, to come and join the act. And he said Curly was actually, at the time, was in a vaudeville act where he was like a comedic conductor. And so Moe said, you know, I had this idea that, because when Curly showed up, he had a full head of hair. He said, I just had this idea. I said, shave all your head off. He said the next day he came as bald as a cue ball, and that was Curly's look, and that's what made them, you know, so lovable, is like this. And they would actually really hit each other. Larry, Curly, Moe, they would all have calluses on their face so that the hits and the slaps and all this stuff wouldn't affect them.
You got him! Hit him down! But he ain't got no pin. Oh, he ain't got a pin. Get him one. Come on, you two.
But they eventually, while making motion pictures with Ted, got noticed by the studio, and the studio offered them a contract, and Ted went crazy because I think secretly he kind of knew they were as talented as him, if not more. And so he told the studio to retract it or he was going to quit, and so they did. And Moe eventually took the Stooges off and signed a contract elsewhere, and they really made their name in Columbia with all the shorts. Once they were able to start making, once this form of releasing short films and short comedies came out, they were the king of it. And they would make a lot of them. They didn't write them, but they would always have a part in the script when they were making this where the writers would say, like, the Stooges do their thing, and that was where they got to, you know, just go crazy with the slaps and the eye pokes and the pliers up the nose and all that stuff.
A tarantula! You.
Which was, you know, of course, extremely popular. And Moe had a great business sense, so he was making sure that the guys were doing well, being paid fairly, and for the most part, that was really great. That was really what happened. They made these movies for years, and when they weren't filming, they would go off on the road and they would meet people. They would like meet fans at theater shows. Well, this is kind of weird. This is Moe. I think I said his wife was Evelyn. It's actually Helen. Her name's Helen on here, but right above, whoever this is, his nickname was Curly. What are the odds? So yeah, speaking of Curly, Curly was like outrageously funny and outrageously popular, but he started suffering from a series of strokes. And at one point, he just realized he had to retire and was actually paralyzed at one point. It was really sad, but they realized at that time that they were gonna have to replace him, and so the most obvious replacement for Moe was to bring back Shemp, and that's how Shemp came about. But Shemp had a great career. I mean, he made like 100 movies on his own, a lot of people don't know about, and in fact had his own series and was under contract for several years, made his own like kind of Three Stooges type movies where he was the lead stooge and everything. I mean, he really had a great career, so he didn't need to come back, but he loved that kind of comedy, and you know, the group was wildly successful, and it was really sad. They would eventually have to replace him when he would be leaving a boxing match, and would I think he had a heart attack in the car he was riding in. He like lit a cigar, and all of a sudden his head just dropped and was burning his shirt, and people realized that he had just literally died right there in his car. Moe was forever the leader, even before he was the leader. When Curly was a little kid, he accidentally shot himself and they were out hunting, and it was Moe that got him to the hospital and saved his life. And it was Moe that made sure when their contracts were canceled because there were no longer going to be short movies, they weren't going to do those anymore, and they just got tossed out. Moe made sure that they found a way to continue the Stooges, whether it be going on the road and performing in front of live audiences or doing a cartoon. In so many ways, at so many different times, no matter what the situation was, he tried to continue the Stooges until it just became apparent that Larry's health was getting just too bad, and he had to end up helping Larry move into the actor's retirement home, and he would go frequently visit Larry while he was there. Moe was just a good guy. He really was. He was a talent because he knew that he was not what people were there to laugh at, but he knew how important he was, and he was always the great businessman, always took care of everyone, never ripped any of them off, and they were all real friends behind the scenes, like Moe, Larry, Curly, Shemp, you know, they were all real friends. And then it wasn't until later when they would like bring Joe and, you know, those guys in that it became more of like a business relationship with those guys, because Moe and Larry just had such a long relationship. They would always kind of agree on whatever the decisions would be. Rest in peace, Moe Howard. At the time of Moe's death, he was actually working on his autobiography that was called I Stooged to Conquer, and it did get released later on. But he also, like I said, he was a good businessman. He fought for them to get the merchandising rights, so they were always making money off residuals and all the stuff that was coming out Stooge related. Moe ended up dying just 3 months after Larry of lung cancer. Moe was a very heavy smoker and died just a week before his 78th birthday, and his wife Helen died the same year and was, you know, as we see, is right here next to him. I just don't understand. I mean, there's a Jewish cemetery and everything. I just don't understand why he wasn't buried where Jerome Curly and Samuel Shemp are buried. Rest in peace to the great Stooge, Moe Howard. Moe Horowitz. Thank you for all the laughs, and thank you everyone for watching. We will see you next time. Have a great night, and goodbye.